Hi there, warm welcome to the Business Week here in the Netherlands. We will talk in the coming 60 minutes about doing business in agriculture in Taiwan and South Korea. My name is Jessen, and in a few minutes I will introduce my guests. But first, it's very important to tell you that you as an entrepreneur can ask your questions to my guests. We have guests here in our main studio in the Netherlands, you see them, but we have also guests abroad in studios in Taiwan and South Korea. But first, when you have a question, you can ask the question within our platform. Send the question to me and my colleagues will send them to the iPad, which is here on the table, so I can ask questions to my guests. We will have 60 minutes. We have different subjects, and I will start with my guests here in our studio. Daniëlle is here. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Can you give a short introduction about yourself?
Yes, of course. So my name is Daniëlle. I'm 32 years old and I work for DO Logistics Group. That's a logistics company in the Netherlands and I'm the commercial manager there. I'm working there for a couple of years now and it's a really great company that works with customers all over the world. So yeah, I'm really glad to be here and to see and to meet everyone here. So,
exactly,
yeah.
And maybe you know also some of our other guests. Can you tell me something about the business you do with the two markets I mentioned before?
Yes, of course. So we are dealing with both Korean and Taiwanese companies at the moment. Not so much in the agriculture sector, but in the high-tech sector mostly. And yeah, for us it's very interesting to see that this market is also growing because our company has more, a couple of cold stores within the Netherlands with the temperature-controlled storage. So this sector growing is very great for us also. Yeah,
and we had a kick-off show earlier today, and the colleagues told us high-tech, that's the future, especially in Taiwan and South Korea. So it's very important. Okay. Yeah. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
We have also Mr. Lee. Nice to have you, Mr. Lee.
Nice to meet you today. And I'm Samsik Lee, Director General of KOTRA Amsterdam, one of the 178 foreign office of KOTRA. Well, for your easier understanding, the KOTRA is something like Alvio, Netherlands Enterprise Agency in Netherlands, who support Dutch companies to do business to expand their market in foreign countries. And we have also other function, investment promotion. So it's also something like NFI in Netherlands.
Exactly. So when I have an idea to go to Taiwan or South Korea, I can come to your company and you can help me?
Yes, sure.
Okay, that's really important. We will talk in a few minutes about the different subjects you can help people and businesses with. First, we go to Jan Panman from Enza Zaden Export BV. Can you give a short introduction, Jan?
For sure. Good morning. I'm the export sales director for Enza Zaden. We are one of the leading vegetable seed companies in the world. We call ourselves a green software company. Korea is an important market for us. Taiwan also, but specifically Korea, especially for the high-tech greenhouse sector.
Yeah.
And we play an important role there in sweet pepper and tomatoes and lettuce.
Yeah, so there it is again, high-tech.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's really important. Okay, nice to have you, Jan. Then we will go abroad first to Taiwan. In Taiwan is our colleague and our guest of today, Minchi Xu. Welcome. Can you first give us a short introduction?
Okay, thank you. I'm Enza Xu, and I'm the researchers of the post-harvest handling of the Taiwan Agricultural Research Institute. So at first, I want to tell you about my research field is about the post-harvest handling. It's technology how to keep the high quality or maintain the quality from the field to the fork. So it's very nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, and nice to have you. You also have a keynote for us. We will show it in a few minutes. But first, I will go to Wendy Liang. She is also there. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Tom. Hi, I'm Wendy Liang. I am the Senior Agriculture Advisor based in Netherlands office, Taipei. And I've been working in the trade office for more than 10 years. Together with my team in South Korea, we are very happy to provide our service. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And we also have Anchi Tai. Welcome. Nice to have you.
Nice to meet everyone. My name is Anchi Tai. My family grew mushroom in Taiwan for 60 years, and we use high-tech to produce oriental mushrooms for the Taiwan local market and the East Asian markets at the same time. And also, these couple of years, we also provide a total solution for the high-tech mushroom growing all over the world. So it's very nice to meet you guys and have this chance to exchange all the information with you guys. Thank you.
So good to have you, and we have so many people with a lot of experience, so I'm very glad. And these are the people in Taiwan, but we have also people in South Korea. Let's move over to our guests over there in our studio. I would like to start with Hojin Kang. Welcome, nice to have you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. My name is Hojin Kang, agriculture advisor. So at this moment, we first start with the agriculture counselor Gelare Nader. She is responsible for both Korea and Taiwan. So our plan is first, Ms. Gelare Nader will introduce both countries about the current situation of agriculture in both countries. Afterward, Mr. Peterson and myself will join to discuss the details of the development of the sector. Shall we do it that way?
Exactly. Yeah, you can do it in a few minutes because I first would like to introduce all of my guests and give you also the space to introduce yourself, because then we know who you are and we also recognize you. We have also Gelare. She's also there. Hi.
Hi. My name is Gelare Nader. I'm the agriculture counselor here at the embassy in Seoul, and I am the agriculture director at the NL office in Taipei.
Exactly.
And you already met Hojin and Wendy, who are my very strong team.
Yeah, and I'm curious if Mr. Son is also there. I think so. Maybe he can come to the stage there and give an introduction about his beautiful company Ventex.
Yes, I'm really glad to be here to say talk about the Korean market to you. Then it'll be a good chance to knowing each other for the market.
You are the right of Ventex.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, nice to have you, Mr. Son. Okay, these are all my guests, and we will talk in this show about agriculture and, of course, also about the influence of high-tech. But first, I think it's smart to start with a short introduction. So let's take a look to this video. Yeah, that's beautiful. Mr. Lee, what did you recognize in this movie?
Well, it's very nice. Well, the impressed thing is I can see the language Korean there.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And Jan, for you, it's a beautiful movie. Is it because it's nice in this show to have a good image of the market over there? What did you recognize in the movie?
Now, I fell immediately on the greenhouse with some seedlings in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah. That's what I recognize about Korea.
Yeah. Okay, Daniëlle?
I think the products, fresh flowers and everything. So yeah, that's what I recognize.
Okay, nice. Feeling like home. Maybe.
Yeah.
We have also questions for you in the audience today. I would like to share the first question with you. That's a very simple and easy one, I think. Are you commercially active in Taiwan or South Korea? You can choose between these answers. Yes, I am already exporting. B, yes, I have a company in Taiwan and or South Korea. C, no, or D, I am considering becoming active in one of these countries. Maybe it's good to give an overview of the opportunities in Korea. Can you give us an overview, Jan?
Yeah, Korea is an important market for us. We already work with our export to Korea since 1997, so it's the last 24 years. We did grow together with the greenhouse sector in Korea that has gone up during those years.
And why did you go there? Why was it an important market for you?
Korea started producing their first sweet peppers, mainly for export to Japan, late 90s. And actually at that time, Enza Zaden was and still is a leading company in sweet pepper varieties. And the first two varieties that we exported in 97 to Korea were Spirit and Fiesta, a red and a yellow sweet pepper.
Yeah.
That is the background of the story.
Yeah. Okay, that's the start. Which opportunities did you see in the past, but also now and in the future there?
Now, what you see in general is that Korea is very high level. There is a strong consumer market. It is a wealthy market. There is limited area, so when you do things, it has to be high-tech. It has to be with good growers and with good infrastructure. And people invest in seed because they know that seed is one of the basic requirements for a good crop.
Yeah. Mr. Lee, what can you tell about the current market situation?
In Korea now?
Yeah.
Well, I think because of the COVID-19, the interest of agriculture sectors are growing up than before.
Why is that?
Well, the food security, the government of Korea are looking at the food security of Korea. Except the rice, well, the rate is just 3.1%. Exactly speaking, the grain sufficiency rate. So compared with the Netherlands, it is too low. And that's why the government tried to invest more in the smart farming. And also the logistic industry is related with it. Well, later on, I will try to talk more about that details.
Yeah, exactly. And why is that important, the smart industry, for example, Dutch companies?
As you know, the Netherlands is the #2 in the world to export the agri-food. When I compare with the Netherlands and Korea, the farming land size is similar.
Yeah.
And we have 8 times more farmers than Netherlands.
Yeah.
But the productivity is lower than Netherlands.
In South Korea?
Yeah. And as you know, we use more energy and water So there are many things we have to learn from the Netherlands. But I'm looking at now the Koreans are looking for just smart farming too much. So when you talk about the Netherlands, you are moving forward smart agriculture and recycling the economy and recycling the agriculture. So I think we have to see more from the Netherlands about that.
Are there also things the Dutch people can learn, the Dutch entrepreneurs can learn from the people in South Korea, business-wise?
Well, before coming here, I checked how many the agriculture companies of Netherlands are doing business in Korea, but I'm sorry that maybe not more than 10 Dutch companies are active in Korea.
That's less.
Yeah, less than 10 who are investing in Korea. So as we are the government organization to support the businessmen, so through the exhibition or this kind of webinar, we need to link the more companies of both countries in the future.
Exactly. So looking to that less number, there are a lot of opportunities for Dutch companies over there.
Sure, definitely.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. Daniëlle, do you recognize the things Mr. Lee mentioned?
Yes, and also the question you have about what can we learn from Korean companies in doing business. I think the way of doing business is a little bit different. So relationship is very important for Korean companies, also Taiwanese companies, Asian companies.
What do you mean by relationship?
Well, doing business is creating a relationship, and after that, you are doing business. Where in Holland, we are doing business, and also relationship is important. But I think we can learn something from that. If you are doing business together, you go to have a dinner or to have drinks together. And in Holland, we have the meeting rooms and maybe sometimes dinner. But I think that's something we can learn. So how to build a relationship for the longer run.
Okay. Yeah. How much opportunities do you see?
Well, actually, a lot. Because I think the business is growing over there. And if we're looking at the agricultural component, the seasons over there are different from South of America or from Europe. So I think in Europe we can also have a lot of those products here because the seasons are different. So,
Okay. We will also give you today an overview of the opportunities and the challenges in Taiwan. Therefore, I would like to invite Minchi Chu, because you have a keynote for us, I mentioned before. Maybe you can start and give us an overview.
Okay. Please slide. First slide. Okay. First of all, Taiwan will produce lots of lettuce, and it's off-season lettuce. Why is off-season? Because we can produce the lettuce from Taiwan and export to Japan or Korea or the other countries. Next slide. Okay, so this is the Taiwan's Roman's lettuce, and some of our farmers will have a cooperation to the Holland's company like Rex Wans and others. So next slide. Okay, so why we need the cold chain management? So in my opinion, more than 1.3 billion tons foods will be loose and waste by the due to the underdevelopment or inefficient cold chain management. And next slide. Okay, you can see these two pictures. The left hand is the normal when looking by eyes, and the other one is by the red lights. So you can see the day is 16 degrees, but you see that on the vegetable is higher because the field heat. The heat is from the sun. So next slide. So we have to overcome, and we want to export to the other countries. So we need to decrease, and we need to cool down our vegetable and products. So you can see the room temperature and the different strategy is used in the vacuum cooling. So it's immediately and rapidly decrease the temperature from the field. Okay, next slide. So what's the difference? It's 18 hours between 20 minutes. So there's the different ways. So next slide. And we can see the difference of this. The vegetables quality of leafy vegetable is very important. So there's a temperature recorder from Taiwan to Japan. We record all the temperature change of this. So it is the keynote and it's a key point to maintain the quality. So next slide. So this is another pictures. So we export to Dubai. It's Dubai. So it's marine transport for more than 25 days and stay there for 5 days. So it's the quality. So we can keep the well quality because the cold chain management. And next slide. So this is shelf life. You can see the quality on the supermarket in Dubai. And next slide. So we know that the post-harvest is important. So we establish the good post-harvest practice. It's included in the global gap like a third-party certification. And the other one is we focus on different from the field, and when we cultivate the vegetables, and we control the fertilizers and the others like the cool rooms, ethylene control, and others key elements. So we can keep the quality from Taiwan to the other countries. So next slide. So this is the challenges, I think, because we have to maintain the food quality. So we have to reducing the food loss and waste and maximizing facility efficiency and include the education of the workers. And so we need lots of, maybe in Dutch we can learn, we can get more new novels, facility or the strategy of optimizing inventory management. So this is my slide. Okay, thank you all.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. One question, because it's a clear overview of challenges. Is there one big challenge you can mention?
The biggest challenge in Taiwan of the vegetables, I think maybe the climate change. It's about the heavy rain or the low temperature this change. So I think one of the important keys is the variety for the seeds or vegetables. So I think this is one of the important business model to import some variety from Holland. And the second is we need some cold chains, novel cold chains management, like the total solution of a cold chain. So I think the two points more is important.
Okay, so that are also 2 points that are important for maybe future entrepreneurs over there. I didn't hear the question, but it's very clear. Aminchi Chu, thank you for sharing your keynote. I would like to ask Anchi Tai. You are specialized in mushroom production, you mentioned before. Please give us an overview of the most important facts and figures.
Yes. My family grow mushroom for 60 years, as I mentioned before. And nowadays, Taiwanese use like about 400 tons mushrooms, variety mushrooms per day. And my family farms grow 10% of it every day. And you can actually, I'll see mushroom growing and producing is the active cold chain application. In the other hand, actually, the mushroom is not only use the natural environment. We use the environmental control in AC, in temperature, also in the air's composed to produce. It's like a factory. It's not the farm anymore. And so these 10 years, we not only apply and explore whole total solution to China and also to the Southeast Asia. And for the mushrooms, it's because it's not easy to ship for long distance. So I'll see the future development. We can learn from the South Korean's sweet pepper or the lettuce from Taiwan. Actually, we are looking for the markets. We can grow the mushroom on the side and the market side. And so to develop the future markets. I think for the Dutch company, what we maybe learn from Dutch company is the wine button mushroom and the portabella mushroom. This will be two main species mushroom we are going to develop. And also I know in Europe, the oriental mushrooms market is growing too. So I think in the future, we might be able to learn from each other and to develop the high-tech growing technology in mushrooms at the same time. Thank you.
And one question, what would be opportunities for Dutch companies in Taiwan?
As I mentioned, actually in Korea, in Japan, and in Taiwan, we lack of white button mushroom and portabella mushroom very much because of very many questions. But I think Dutch company has the technology and the equipment and to produce the white button mushroom and portabella very well. Maybe as the sweet pepper and the lettuce experience, I think for Dutch company maybe set aside and set a farm in Taiwan and growing these two mushroom and export to Japan or Korean as the main markets. And at the same time, you can learn from us about the oriental mushrooms and produce in Europe. And I think they will be the chance for each other. Thank you.
Exactly. Okay. We have also today questions from our audience. So maybe I can ask this incoming question to Wendy. Wendy, what can you tell about the space of agriculture in Taiwan?
So I think it will be proper for me to do firstly a very simple introduction of the background of the vegetable sector here in Taiwan. Yeah, then I can answer a little bit about the questions, maybe. Shortly to start with, Taiwan, we have around 24% of the land is used for farming, and we are very rich in agriculture produce, including a variety of grains, vegetables, fruits, and seafood, so which has a diverse of agricultural products for international and domestic market. So our major vegetable cultivated would be like a cabbage, carrots, beans, solanacine, onions, lettuce, mushrooms, and short-term leafy vegetables. And most of them are cultivated in open fields. I see there is one question over there. So, but because of we have like the other speakers just mentioned, we have very serious climate change here. So it is encouraged to use greenhouse or net house to protect, to reduce from the loss from natural disasters. For example, we do have lots of typhoon here. And for those crops with very strong export potential, such as vegetables, soybeans, carrots, and head lettuce, there are farming clusters will be formed to increase the efficiency through economies of scale. So The plantation areas are mostly located in central and southern Taiwan, which Taiwan itself is located in subtropical and tropical area. So which is in the fields during harvest time, it could be still easily too hot, reach maybe above 32 Celsius or even higher temperature. So vegetable and fruit could really face serious loss from harvest to delivery process. Therefore, cold chain is very important for this sector.
Okay. That's very clear. Thank you. And this is the story about Taiwan. We also have the story, of course, about South Korea, and we have Gelare and Peter for the introduction about that part. I would like to go to Gelare, please.
Hi. Well, thank you. Peter will not be joining us, I think, for this session because because first I'm going to talk about a general thing about South Korea, and after that our guest speaker will be joining us. We cannot be sitting together in the same area because of the measures here in Seoul. So first of all, let me just give you a very short introduction about my team. Because you already saw Mr. Hojin Kang and Wendy Liang, who is in Taiwan. Usually I also visit Taiwan frequently, but I wasn't able to do that this time because of the measures, and also Taiwan has the borders almost closed. For the Dutch companies in the Netherlands who wish to do business in Korea and also in Taiwan, they can contact me or my team about any questions they have. It could be about regulation, it could be about finding new partners. As you heard earlier, having the right partners is very crucial here. If there is a market access, we work on many items here. So generally for anything that they have questions or they just need to find the right partners, they can contact us and we will be happy to help them. Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice.
You had a question.
Yeah, we had a question about also the space, and that's also a question from the audience. How much space of agriculture is there over there in South Korea?
Well, I think the question of how much space for agriculture is not really as important as the condition of agriculture and the development of agriculture here in Korea. Of course, if you compare Korea to Taiwan, Taiwan has a fourth of it is suitable for agriculture, fisheries, forestry. In Korea, that's different because they have, I believe, 70 to 80% mountains, which doesn't make it very suitable for agriculture. And also the temperature here are very severe, very warm summers and very cold winters. And I guess that is also one of the reasons why we would like to focus more on high-tech agriculture here in South Korea, because we see that the difference in temperatures, but also the mountainous character of Korea makes it very difficult to have traditional farming, and the government is also investing a lot in smart farming. So high tech is the new way of doing agriculture here. It is the future of agriculture here, and we also see that by the improvement, by the increase of, let's say, younger generations, and the fact that they think climate change is very important, sustainability is very important. So those are all reasons why we believe that high tech would be very advantageous here. And last but not least, because there was COVID here and the numbers are going down every day, we see that the country has much more priority for producing its own food. And for producing its own food, they really need to upgrade their agriculture to a higher level and engage more in high-tech farming.
Okay, that's clear.
I hope that answers.
Do you agree, Daniëlle, with the story you heard?
Yeah, of course. I must say that when we are talking about the agriculture sector in North of South Korea and also Taiwan, that's not a market we are at this moment active on. But if we look into the relationships we already have with other companies over there, I think what she's saying is what I also.
Yeah, there's also a question from you in the audience about the protectionism for farmers in Korea and Taiwan. Mr. Lee, can you tell something about the opportunities for companies from abroad? How easy is it to invest in new high-tech agriculture, smart farming in these countries?
We are open and we are glad to welcome the foreign companies, including the Dutch companies, to come to Korea for investment. As I mentioned before, there are less than 10 companies, 10 Dutch companies to do investment in Korea. So the reason is that most of them are selling or supplying their equipment through their Korean partner. So we hope, including the seed industry and other agriculture sectors, we hope that some Dutch companies to come to Korea for production and R&D. Then it is good for the Korean industry and the ecosystem of these agricultures to be upgraded.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, we cannot say that all Dutch companies to come to Korea for production. Some of the areas may be possible.
Yeah, okay, that's clear. Jan, what are your experiences, especially also about the question is coming in from the audience about the protectionism?
I think in Korea there is plenty of investment opportunity. I think of course, you need partners. When we look at high-tech horticulture, there's around 6,000 hectares of tomatoes. There's around 800, 900 hectares of sweet pepper. There's a growing area in hydroponic lettuce. You see the changing food habit of Korean population. So, for example, salads become more popular, and there is scope to grow. There is limited land, of course, and but there is a very welcoming market. I do not so much believe that outside companies have to come in for production of fresh vegetables, but I do believe, for example, what Mr. Lee is saying about, for example, R&D investments. Yes, for sure. And Zaden as a company should certainly consider in the near future. Korea itself has also a strong seed industry. There are local important companies that are breeding and producing material for their own market, as well as a big export market. An example is Nongwoo Bio, for example, quite famous international seed company. But I do see opportunities, because in Korea, the country can also function as a center for Northeast Asia, like I call it normally, and it's also a country where there's a good protection of IP, for example, which is for a high-tech company like Enza Zaden essential.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's also important to talk about education and study trips. Maybe, Wendy, you can tell us something about that. Are there opportunities for farmers from Taiwan, for example, to come to the Netherlands or to Europe to learn and to take a look how things are done here?
Yes, certainly. Yes. In fact, in previous years, the Taiwanese government, especially like young farmers, they do like organize their own group going to the Netherlands already for several times, sometimes combined with the trip to special trade shows. And as far as I know, they do like organize by themselves to take courses from Delphi to take their program. And the sectors actually covers quite broad, including like a poultry and horticulture. I think mainly will be like a horticulture industry. So there are already similar groups going to the Netherlands for the past few years. Some of the program are subsidized by the government. Yes, so there will be a study trip combined with, for example, young farmers and also government officials going to abroad to Western Europe. Sometimes they also do combined trip, not just limited to Netherlands. Perhaps they also visit France or Belgium together.
Yeah, and Mr. Minchi and Anchi, have you got some experiences with these kind of trips?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the COVID-19. I have a plan to the Netherlands this year, but it's the COVID-19's problem. So it's a pity. So, but I think we export to the Indian some fruits to Netherlands by the air transports in this year. So I think it will be an opportunity from Taiwan. We produce some fruits or vegetables and export to Europe through by the Netherlands. I think this is an opportunity for our agricultural products, and I think in the other hands, and in Taiwan we are the subtropical and tropical zones countries. So. This is I think it's a milestone for the Netherlands companies or enterprise. So come here to test your varieties, and then you can plant this variety to the others countries like the Vietnam or the Indonesia, the other countries. So some agriculture company come here to test the variety. So I think there's another opportunity for you.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's clear. Let's ask also the people in South Korea about the opportunities about the study trips. We have now on the seat Hojin Kang. Can you tell us something about the opportunities of study trips?
Yeah. Actually, the most promising area is Korean farmers study in the Netherlands, because actually, Korean agriculture is relatively underdeveloped. So, and then for them, the Netherlands is the model country for the development of agriculture. So, for Korean farmers, Netherlands is very renowned as a very excellent destination to learn Dutch technology and agricultural farming. So, in that sense, if somebody asks me what is the most promising cooperation field, I will say that the study and education in the Netherlands for Korean farmer will be the answer.
Okay, and Mr. Peterson, what are your experiences?
Well, if the Dutch company who are the interest get into the market, I think they must understand the Korean market first. Traditionally, the Korea was the agriculture country, but since the shift to the industrialize the society, the agriculture, the population is drastically decreasing, while the average the farmers' age is increased, already over 65 years old. So the government really invested a lot of program to promote to be farmers. So in the sense, anyone who wants to be the farmers, they the reluctant to be the conventional farming method, but they focusing high tech. The technology. That's the point. Dutch company knowing that, and then if they are good contact in the Korean any companies or customer, yeah, they will be very successful.
We also asked our viewers a question before. Are you commercially active in Taiwan and or South Korea? The most people answered, yes, I am already exporting. And also there are a lot of people who are considering becoming active in one of these countries. We have another question for you, question 2. And that's this question, in which subsector are you active? Is that you can choose between agriculture, high-tech, water, architecture, smart cities, or other. Did you study trip?
No, unfortunately not yet. Also because of COVID. I work for this company for a couple of years now, and I started this particular function 1 year ago, and that's when COVID happened. So I really like to. I have already had a lot of contacts between the companies over there and here. So once it's possible again, I would like to go there.
And what is the thing you would like to learn about more?
Well, actually, our company is a logistics company. So I would like to learn how the logistics are handled over there. We have a lot of agents over there, but it's also nice to see firsthand how everything is working out, because it's different from how the logistics in the Netherlands are arranged. So I would like to learn about that, but also about what kind of markets are growing, to see if we can have some cooperation between our countries. Yeah.
And Mr. Lee, I can imagine that there also are opportunities for Dutch people to go to Korea to learn.
Yes, as you know, we are very fast. And we have a good infrastructure of the industry regarding with the IT technology. So I think we can make something together with Dutch, some leading technology of smart agriculture, and mixing with Korean IT technology. Last year, in January, I visited Wageningen University together with the Korean ambassador here. And we were surprised that there are only 15 Koreans are studying. But from China, there are more than 600. So after that, I visit the water campus in Groningen, maybe, Leeuwarden. There are many Chinese students to proceed some R&D project. So I think that, as Mr. Kang mentioned, we need to learn, of course, the Dutch technology, and many students every year from China and Koreans coming here. But I would like to propose the Dutch side that Wageningen University or other kind of institutes in this field to come to Korea, because there are we cannot send all the students to Netherlands, but by some collaboration between the institute or university, we can give some more opportunity for Korean students to learn in domestic.
Learning and meeting each other, that's important. We also learned something about trends and developments in greenhouse businesses. I would like to ask Peter San to give an introduction about that subject.
Okay. Well, for the Korean market, you mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, Korean market is a very interesting market. You know, since early 1990s, the Korea was never understanding the greenhouse the business market. But at that time, the Korea, most of all the Dutch companies fully the turnkey project we have. So from that the project, many Korean greenhouse builder or Korean farmers learning the Dutch technology about the 1 decade. But since the 2000s till the 2010, the customer try to copy it or adopting their the local technology, but it seems not much is succeed. Then after that, around 2010, something hybrid the period time. They mixed up with Dutch technology and then Korean technology together. So some part is success and some part is not very success. But nowadays, the more and more the bigger company are interest to the investing to the agriculture business because they looking for some new business chance. But so they looking for in the agricultural sector, and they have a lot of money, and then they are really open-minded to any other the advanced technology that is Dutch technology. So even I by myself the experience adopting to Korean farmers, introducing the same cross greenhouse system, most up-to-date technology, and then really my customer satisfied, and then he expand his greenhouse. Since a couple of years ago, they built 3 hectare, and then last year another 3 hectare, and this year another 3 hectare, and more they are expanding, and then some new the Korean enterprise company are interested to be to involving that market. So it's a really a good chance to me, also to the many Dutch company who are interested in to the market.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kang, can you tell us something about who are the main investors at the moment in the sectors over there?
Yeah, actually, we talked about protectionism, and also there are a lot of subsidies by the government. But the problem is that subsidies are generally going to local builders or local high-tech companies. In that case, it is a bit Dutch companies face troubles because the money is there, but Dutch companies cannot receive that money. But the opportunity is mainly to the big conglomerates who are, as Mr. Peterson mentioned, that who are interested in penetrating into high-tech horticulture sector. Their business is mainly for food and also retailing and others. But they found that the agriculture, especially high-tech agriculture and greenhouse horticulture, is promising. So they are more and more coming to this sector and then start investing in high-tech business greenhouse horticulture. So there are 2 opportunities. One is governmental subsidy. The other one is big companies' investment. But for Dutch companies, big companies' investment would be more interesting.
Okay, Minchi, what about Taiwan? Who are there, the main investors?
It's a little bit different from the Netherlands and Korea. So in Taiwan, we have lots of small farmers. So it's a different type. For example, some vegetable farmers will planting and they will organize through the farmers organization. But there is another field like the flowers. Flowers, we have the enterprise to export to Europe. And so it's the different styles of that. And like I see some question about the greenhouse type. So in Taiwan, we have 3 kinds of greenhouse type because there is the heat influence. And so that will be, I think in Taiwan, we will, it's a little bit difficult to organize a big, really big company like the Korean, but we still work hard for we still work hard for these goals on. For the in the future time, I think we can export some vegetables to like the Hong Kong or the East Asia or the others. Thanks.
What is the most important lesson you learned in the past years in doing business in Asia?
It comes back again to relationship, like you already indicated. You have to work for a long time with trusted partners.
What do you mean by long time?
It will take a couple of years, for sure. The second thing is that you have to really deep dive into the technical development of the sector. Enza Zaden is, for example, working closely with Seoul University. We have a lot of Korean students working in our company. And even now our permanent employees in Enkhuizen. That is of all places. We have Korean colleagues in Enkhuizen. You see that as well as in Taiwan, because in Taiwan you see also high-tech lettuce operations. But it is not a small industry, and it is high level. For example, most of the growers in Korea have now started with biological control. They produce a pretty clean product. And health, food and health is a central theme. So that comes also back in the growing conditions. And large sweet pepper growers in Korea use biological control, have high-tech greenhouses, and really produce also nowadays a far more wider spectrum of products, with, for example, large conicals, quite small snack fruits. So there is there's happening a lot. The key point is, it is changing all the time. It is consumer driven. You see a lot of online business now appearing, and you have to be close into the chain. That means to the trade and to the retailers to see what is really happening. Yeah, and then you come there. So it is different steps. Yes, partner. Yes, you have to be technologically involved. And yes, you need to work on the trends in the market. It's very important.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is it? Do you agree?
Yes. So when I'm looking from my perspective, we at DL arrange the logistics for customers. And what's very interesting to see is the cold chain management from Asia until Europe. For us in the Netherlands, we have a very different climate. We have arranged everything with cooling trucks, with cold refrigerating buildings and everything. But what I understood from when I spoke to Wendy about it is very different in Taiwan and in Korea. So I think for us, if we are starting to work together, it's very important to see how we can manage the quality of the product over there and make sure that it has the same quality once it enters Europe. So I think, yeah, that's the main thing for me.
Okay, that's clear.
I would like to say that Korea is very professional. For example, 60% of their sweet peppers go to Japan. They are one of the most important suppliers. Actually, more than 50% of the consumption of sweet pepper in Japan is being supplied from Korea. They have fantastic cold chains. They are very professional there.
Okay, one question about the investors. We talked about it already, but maybe I can ask Wendy about it, because you are the agriculture officer over there. What can you tell about the investors, the main investors?
Well, about the main investors, to be honest, it's I will not say similar to Korea. Like Mr. Xu just mentioned, they are big players, but mostly in Taiwan for horticulture, for those sectors who really have the ability to invest in high-tech greenhouses would probably be orchid industry, flower industry, and some of like a private sectors. For example, perhaps Mr. Dai's mushroom farm could afford such investments. And even when we talk about like a cold chain, because it's not a collectively like a gathered facility. So usually, for example, if you are wealthy enough, then of course you can do investments. So only limited to very big say companies And also, as Mr. Shi just mentioned, Taiwan is usually small farmers, so they kind of like depend on government subsidy. But for example, because as we all know that there's a current demand for cold chain logistics here in Taiwan. So actually, the Taiwanese government just about like a few weeks ago announced an action plan which they will subsidize around 25 million euros in 4 years. So I think this policy will be hugely attractive for cold chain logistics service for the Dutch enterprise. There could be a chance because the Taiwanese farmers or growers, they get a subsidy and they could invest on better cold chain facilities. So I think that would be a good chance. Yes.
Thank you, Wendy. A lot of our viewers are, of course, working in the agriculture, but we have also viewers of the high-tech sector and water and the smart cities and the architecture sector. I have a question for you. Last question, Mr. Lee, because when I'm an entrepreneur and I would like to do business, I'm considering doing business with Korea. Where can I find more information, or can I call you or send you an email? How can you help me?
Yeah, as I know, today's organizer is RVO, right?
Yeah.
So we keenly collaborate with RVO because we have a similar and the same object to help Dutch companies. So sometimes even we co-organize the event, and we provide the information to Dutch companies about detailed industry information in Korea. And we provide matchmaking for them, and we help exhibition, or we provide some investment consulting services to them. So you can contact RVO and KOTRA Amsterdam.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you. And you can find all the information at our platform, B2Match. When you would like to watch our episode back, then you will find also a link there in the coming days. And I would like to ask you, when you also are interested in other sectors like high-tech or water, please check our B2Match platform, because you can join us in the coming days. Today we started with our first shows at the Business Week at Taiwan and South Korea, but we have also tomorrow and Thursday a show, different shows about different subjects. I would like to thank you all here in the studio in Hilversum. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also thank you very much to all of my guests in South Korea and Taiwan. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching. Please watch also our other shows, and I would like to say have a very nice day. Bye-bye.